Hosted by you/Baroquine1755. My daughter is just over 3 months old. Occasionally, my mother-in-law watches her when I have things to do or need a break. Lately, she has been calling herself mommy when talking to my daughter. She does it in front of me and my husband at least once, and sometimes more, every time she visits now, and she always brushes it off like, whoopsie doodles, I'm so used to being mommy, so I called myself that, haha. But today she gave me a reason to doubt that. I called her over to watch the baby while I took care of a house project involving chemicals. I took a shower afterward because of the chemicals. I went downstairs to grab some fresh clothing out of the dryer when I heard my mother-in-law talking to my baby in the other room, and she called herself mommy 4 times in a 3-minute conversation. Do you want mommy to play with you? Are you having fun with mommy? Are you being a good girl for mommy? Mommy loves you, yes I do. She didn't know I was there, and she didn't even try to correct herself. I asked my husband to help me navigate this situation because it's super weird, and frankly, I think it's unhealthy for my mother-in-law to be playing out this fantasy delusion. He said to me, if it really bothers you that much, we can say something next time we hear her do it, which makes me wonder if I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it should be, but it feels like a big freaking deal. Am I overreacting? Edit. She is not married and has been a single mother to my husband his whole life. During my pregnancy, my mother-in-law decided that she wanted to be called Lala by the baby. I asked her to pick a different name because it felt too similar to Mama for me to be comfortable with it, especially because L sounds are really difficult for babies to say, and honestly, I could see this coming from a mile away. My husband said I was being ridiculous, but he stood by what I wanted and urged her to pick a different name. Ultimately, she chose Grammy. The first time I heard her call herself mommy to my daughter, I said something along the lines of, "Excuse me, who are you again?" My mother-in-law laughed it off with a whoopsie doodle, and I drove the point home with another comment along the lines of, "You sure as hell ain't mommy." I caught some side-eye for that one. I was definitely being snarky. My mother-in-law lost her own daughter to SIDS at 4 weeks old almost 40 years ago. Neither she nor my husband seems to want to unpack that trauma, but I think this might be the start of a super scary path, and I'm worried that my husband is turning a blind eye because he doesn't want to deal with it. Update 1. We may have found a resolution to the problem in a roundabout way. However, my mother-in-law hasn't spoken to us since this morning, so we will have to see how this situation settles. I apologize if this update is long. We had my mother-in-law over for the 4th of July. We made plans a while ago for me to cook dinner for the holiday. The day before, I spoke with my husband and let him know that I wasn't pleased with my mother-in-law overstepping our parenting boundaries, including but not limited to the mommy issue. I brought up many points that you all suggested, so thank you to everyone who commented. I informed him that I planned to address this while she was with us, and I was on high alert for most of the day. Here's some necessary backstory before I explain what happened. We have a rule for my mother-in-law concerning our daughter. My mother-in-law is not allowed to take pictures of the baby on her phone. We also don't send pictures of the baby to her phone through text or email. My mother-in-law is one of those people who posts every tiny detail of her life to her friends on Facebook, and she has a habit of posting unflattering photos of me, allowing her and her friends to criticize my appearance. She also uses significant moments in my life to gain attention from her friends and family. She's really addicted to the adoration. My husband and I decided early on that we did not want our daughter included in her Facebook posts, both for consent reasons and to keep our daughter away from social media for her mental health. Although this is a future concern, we feel it's important to protect her even now. My mother-in-law literally cannot stop herself from immediately sharing any photo she takes with her Facebook friends, so we decided no photos on her phone, period. We even bought a high-end camera for ourselves that we allow her to use, which prevents her from sharing but still allows her to take pictures. For the record, we have provided her with a photo album containing physical copies of baby pictures, and we add to it regularly. Anyway, yesterday my mother-in-law decided to break the rule. The camera was within reach for her to use, but she deliberately chose her phone instead. She thought she was being sneaky and tried to look like she was texting, but she started snapping pictures of our daughter. I happened to be looking over her shoulder and caught her red-handed. I asked her to stop taking pictures and delete the ones she had already taken. She told me that the pictures were just for her to have on her phone, but I saw her start clicking on the share button and scroll over to her Facebook icon. She suddenly realized that I was still looking at her phone while she was doing it, so she backed out of everything and locked her phone screen. I called her out and said, "You were literally about to share the picture, I watched you almost do it," and she went off. She started yelling that she sees my husband take pictures of the baby all the time on his phone, that it's not fair she can't take pictures on her phone, and that we were being hypocrites. At that point, my husband stepped in and clarified that he, as the baby's father, has different rules and can take pictures on his phone. She started whining and called herself an equal partner who can take pictures of the baby if she wants to, again calling us hypocrites. I told her, very specifically, that she is, in fact, not an equal partner, and needs to abide by our rules. She pushed further, saying that she should be an equal partner, thinks she is helping to raise the baby, and that we need to see that she should be able to do what she wants. That's where I had it. I said, "Mother-in-law, you are not baby's mother, you are not her parent, and you are not an equal partner. You are her grandmother, and that means you will follow our rules because we are her parents, and what we say goes." She started laughing at me, a very derisive kind of laugh, but I just picked up my daughter and said, "You're laughing like it's a joke, but it's not," and walked out of the room. The night ended pretty poorly. This morning, my mother-in-law called us to invite us out to brunch. My husband thought that maybe she wanted to extend an olive branch and make amends, so we accepted the offer. Brunch went well enough, we were all seemingly getting along. However, as we were finishing up, my mother-in-law brought up that she took some great photos the night before and couldn't wait to share them with her friends. My husband didn't miss a beat. He said, "Mother-in-law's name, why are you still trying to buck against my rules?" Once again, she called us hypocrites, said that she's offended that we don't trust her, and doesn't feel like she deserves to be punished when all she wants to do is have pictures of our baby. My husband pointed out that we can't trust her because she keeps trying to subvert our rules and continues to undermine us as parents. He told her that if she can't fall in line, we are going to have a serious problem going forward. She stood up from the table, announced that we will have to accept that we disagree on this, and she refuses to talk about it any further. Then, she stormed out of the restaurant. That's everything up until now. We haven't heard from her since she stormed out, and normally she calls my husband about 3 times a day, so we're pretty sure that she's really mad. My husband and I discussed how we are going to go forward from this, and we are resolute that if she cannot figure out how to stay out of parenting our baby, then she simply won't see the baby at all. I really appreciate how my husband has decided to put his foot down and help me put my mother-in-law in her place because you all were right, she has really gotten out of control and seems to legitimately think that she is a third parent to my daughter. I also appreciate everyone who had something to say on my last post. You all gave me a lot of tools to show my husband that what is happening here is not acceptable, and that if we take a backseat, she is going to happily push us out of our rules entirely. That's all for now. I'll update again if there ends up being anything new to share. Edit. My husband calls my mother-in-law by her first name and has since he was 11. He told me that she ignored him more when he called her mom or any variation, and she was much more responsive when he addressed her by her first name. She has even corroborated this in the past, saying that he had so many questions as a kid that she learned to tune out the word mom by default.